Okay, let me tell y'all something. I kid y'all not, like, the title of this video sounds crazy, but I'm not even joking, right? So y'all know I live in Detroit, right? So I got on the freeway. For those of y'all who live in Detroit, I got on the Lodge, right? And it's raining outside. And I'm sure y'all have driven on the freeway in the rain before. And, like, it's impossible to see anything, right? Like, everybody's driving all fast. The rain is getting kicked up off of people's tires. And it's like this big cloud of, like, water droplets. So you can't see anything, right? So I'm driving down the Lodge, and I'm like, damn, like, I can't see shit. Like, to the point where I'm like, I might need to get off the freeway, because y'all know it's never like that on the street because people aren't driving as fast, so there's not a bunch of water getting kicked up, right? So I'm like, I'm about to get off the freeway, right? And then suddenly, the water droplets just stop getting kicked up, and it's completely clear. And I'm confused because it's still raining. I'm like, it's still raining, so why is it suddenly clear? Why are all these water droplets no longer being kicked up, right? And then I realized, because I told y'all I was on the Lodge, I realized that I had crossed into Southfield. I had gotten out of Detroit and crossed into Southfield. As soon as I got into Southfield, the suburbs, suddenly, there was no longer any water being kicked up, right? So I'm looking at the freeway, and I'm thinking back to the freeway in Detroit, and I'm like, clearly this part of the freeway is made out of something different. I don't know what it's made out of, but it's not made out of the same stuff in Detroit. It doesn't even look the same, right? So I'm like, whatever material they're making the freeways out of in Southfield, clearly it throws up less water, and it really increases your visibility. Because when I was in Southfield driving, I could see everything. But when I was in Detroit driving, there was such a huge cloud of water that it was like you couldn't see anything, right? So I'm like, as soon as I crossed into the white neighborhood, suddenly the freeway is made out of a different material that doesn't kick up all this water. And suddenly you have increased visibility and a way easier driving experience, right? And I was like, because while I was driving, there was this freeway sign that said, like, drive slower. Wet conditions increase the likelihood of accidents, because whatever, maybe you'll hydroplane or something. I don't know. But I'm thinking, like, half of the issue is that you can't see shit when all that water is getting kicked up. So, of course, you're more likely to get into an accident. You cannot see anything, right? So now I'm like, so if you drive through Detroit, you can't see anything. Of course, you're more likely to get into an accident. And we see higher insurance rates in Detroit. If you guys compare insurance rates for Detroit versus, like, any suburb, Southfield, East Lansing, whatever, any city that's not predominantly black, you will see that Detroit's insurance rates are way more expensive, right? And that's racist as fuck, right? Because I feel like I made a video about this before, about how it's more expensive to live in black cities. Y'all love calling black people broke, but it's way more expensive to live in black cities, right? So now I'm like, so now the insurance companies, they have an excuse. They can say, oh yeah, people who live in Detroit are more likely to get into more car accidents, when really, clearly the freeways are made out of different materials in Detroit versus the suburbs. And that's why people are getting into more car accidents. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, golly gee. So now I have a question to other people who live in predominantly black cities. So if you live in Baltimore or Flint or whatever, I want to ask y'all, when y'all get on the freeway when it's raining outside, have you noticed that it's impossible to see anything? Like, there's so much rain getting kicked up that you can't see shit. But then as soon as you get into the white neighborhoods, as soon as I got into Southfield, because I told you I was driving up the Lodge, as soon as I crossed into Southfield, suddenly I could see. That don't make no sense, right? And I already know white people are about to comment like, oh gosh, now the freeways are racist. Those blacks choose the race card for everything. Shut the hell up. Anyway, I'm talking to black people, because now I have this whole theory on why insurance rates are higher in Detroit, because I've always been wondering that. There's this whole conversation about how niggas in Detroit never have insurance, right? And it's halfway true. A lot of people don't have insurance in Detroit, right? And now I'm thinking, like, you know, of course people don't have insurance because it's super expensive. But now I'm like, now this is one of the reasons it's so expensive. Not because it's black people's fault, but because y'all use different materials on the freeways in black neighborhoods versus white neighborhoods. Bro, there is a whole conspiracy against black people. And I kid y'all not, bro. I kid y'all not. Because I used to work in Birmingham, right? You know, Birmingham is like 99% white, right? I kid y'all not. When I'm in Birmingham and I'm driving and a light turns yellow, I can get through that light. Even if I'm mad far away. The yellow light is super long. But when I'm in Detroit and I'm driving and the light turns yellow, it'd be like yellow, red. Like, there is no time for the yellow lights. When I'm in Detroit, as soon as the light turns yellow, even if I'm right up on it, I have to stop, because I know it's only going to last like a second and a half. But in Birmingham, them yellow lights last a long ass time. I be peeping all of this stuff, bro. In the black neighborhoods, the yellow lights don't last long because they want to catch you running a red light and give you a ticket. Somebody blew the whistle on this. Like, literally, he tampered with, like, the traffic cameras that take pictures of you going through the intersection, because he noticed that the yellow lights in black neighborhoods, they're literally shorter, right? But when black people say something like this, y'all be like, oh gosh, those niggers are playing the race card. Like, everything is about race. But you know what? Let me shut my fat ass up and go in this story, y'all. That's all I got on here to talk about. I didn't know white people was about to be full of shit. Like, oh my gosh, no, the freeways are racist. Shut up.